Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Friday night. Welcome to my Zen Den. I am so glad to be with you tonight. Oh, I missed you. I missed crafting. I really haven't been crafting that much lately, and it's just been, I'm missing it. Life has been, I say this every week, but I swear, I swear, life has been hectic. My daughter graduated from high school last Friday. So that's why I wasn't here last Friday with you. It was so much fun. We had the graduation, and then they did, after COVID started, they started doing a parade of graduates around town. So we have a classic truck, and so everybody sat in the back of the truck, and we drove a parade around town of Melrose, which was fun. It was so neat. And then the boys started softball this week. The school ended this week. It's just been like one thing after another. So I came across this technique. I don't know what it's called. I'm going to call it the peekaboo technique. But I really like it. I like the simplicity of it. And I like that if you are really in need of some really quick cards, like a few, this is a really easy, simple technique to kind of mass produce those cards. And it really you can use a lot of different looks, a lot of different papers. I'm going to show you two tonight. We're going to do an alcohol technique with some really neat colors. And then we are going to do one with some designer series paper. So I'm going to flip the camera around, and we're going to get Stampin' with what I am calling the peekaboo technique. 1 second. There we go. Get this all lined up here. There we go. All right. So what I am kind of featuring tonight are two products. One is the rectangle dies, and this is why I'm using these dies. This is where this all came together. I'm missing one. No, not here it is. Okay. So this is actually a really neat set of dies because there's a lot to it. There's actually 13 dies in this set. And I'm using them a little different tonight. Normally when we use a die, we tend to cut out a shape, right? But these dies also have, I'm going to take this little one here. These dies also have stitching on both sides of the cutting edge. So it leaves the stitching on both the positive and the negative side. Okay, so what we're going to feature tonight is we're actually going to use what I guess we would call the negative, because this would be the positive, right? So we're going to use the outside. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to first use, let's do the alcohol one first. Okay, so first I'm going to use this here die, and I am going to, we've been working a lot out in the shed, and the trees are blooming and everything like that. And there's a door out there. Sorry, you can't see that yet. There's a door out in my shed that you can see like the leaves of the trees and things like that. There it is. And my kayaks are out in there. And I was like, what is that? That is the coolest color. And it was basically these two colors together. And I thought, oh, that is so pretty. I'm telling you, I get inspiration from the weirdest things. So as I'm standing out in the shed working on cabinets with my husband, I'm looking out the window going, oh, that looks like Parakeet Party and Tahitian Tide. And I really do that in my head. So I'm like, how can I make that look? And so instantly this watercolor technique came into my head, or the alcohol technique. So what I've got here is a piece of vellum paper, and it is, I think, 5 by 3, just big enough that you can work with. So we're going to kind of do like a refresher on the alcohol technique. And so what you're going to need are, it works only with the Stampin' blends or alcohol markers, because they are alcohol based. So I've got the dark of each, the Tahitian Tide and the Parakeet Party. And then you're going to use 91% isopropyl alcohol. This is in the first aid section of your stores. I think I got mine at Dollar General, but you need the one that's got a higher percentage, the 91% alcohol, okay? And then you can use one of two things. You can use tonight, I'm going to use just a basic brush. I think it's a little paintbrush that we've got. It hangs out at my crafting table. You can also use an aqua painter if you wanted to do that and fill the barrel up with the alcohol. I did such a small piece that I thought, I'll just use a brush. So let's get cracking here. So I don't really have any rhyme or reason to how I color it. I just go into it. And my inspiration had less of the Tranquil Tide in it and more of the green. And you could mess around with this maybe a little bit. And maybe pull in a darker green. I'm sure that there probably are darker greens in my inspiration. But this is what I seen when I was when I was looking out my window daydreaming of crafting while I was working on cabinets. And the reason we're working on cabinets is because Bailey's graduation party is going to be in the garage, in the shed. So we're just working on finishing it up. We just built that shed last year. So, and when you're doing the alcohol technique, sorry, I'm shifting gears here. When you do the alcohol technique, the reason that these colors work so well together is because green comes out of blue. You know, you need to have yellow and blue make green. So if you put these two colors, if they run together at all, they just make a different shade of green. They don't necessarily make an icky mud color. So if you do the alcohol technique, make sure that that your colors will blend nicely, that you don't want to make mud. So, and like I said, see, you can even go over some of it and mix the blue, the Tahitian Tide, and the Parakeet Party. So, all right. So like I said, there is no real rhyme or reason to how I colored this. It is simply what makes me happy, right? Okay, so I can set my alcohol markers aside. And when I do it with just a brush, this is really no scientific method here. I put just a touch, just a little bit of the rubbing alcohol in the cover of my bottle, and then I dip my brush in it and I splatter. You can do this. This is going to give you kind of bigger splatters. It is just rubbing alcohol, so you can flick it. The more alcohol you put on there, the bigger your like blotches are going to be. Kind of nice the big blotches are kind of neat actually, because they make the texture in there. And the cool thing about alcohol is that if you get it anywhere on your desk, you're really only cleaning your desk, right? If you have wood, probably not the best. But this is fake wood, so I'm just going to dump that back into the bottle. All right, and so now you would normally let this dry. And it is alcohol, so it dries relatively quick. But through the magic of television, I have one done already. So isn't that just the neatest colors? I love them. I love those colors. This one actually turned out a lot better than this one. But I love those colors together. I think they're so pretty. And they really do look cool in in the trees, in the woods. Okay, so now I've just got two pieces. This is a very simple card. So I've got two pieces of basic white. This one is 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4. So this is our card base, okay? Just fold that and burnish it, get a nice crisp edge. And then this piece is 4 by 5 1/4, basic panel, right? So I'm going to take my rectangle die and I'm going to cut roughly about right in there. I'm just going to make like a little peekaboo window, right? So I've got my platform. So I've got my base number, my plate number 1. I've got my magnetic base. This is actually on back order right now. I'm sorry to tell you. They will be coming back in, but they've been very, very popular and they are on back order right now. So I've got plate number 1, plate number 5, and then I'm going to line my die up. And then I'm going to use a top plate. This would be plate number 3. I'm going to run that through my cut and emboss machine. All right, so I pull that off. So now I've got this, which I will use for another project someday. This is the piece I'm actually going to use. So see, it's got the stitching around there, and that's what I'm featuring here. I'm kind of showcasing that, and I love that look. So we will put our die back so I don't lose it. Let's set this aside. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over because I do want to make sure that I use this stitching right here, right? So I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add my adhesive, and I'm going to be kind of generous with the adhesive just because I don't want the vellum to bubble up. And you can use, let's see here, this is the side that had the actual alcohol on it. This is like the see-through side. This is the side I'm going to want out. Simply because I don't want something to get onto my vellum and make those colors run even more. So, shoot, I should have stamped that first. Here's hoping. Let's hope that it's good. All right, I am using the stamp set tonight. I'm going to use Bamboo Beauty. I liked the sentiment, sending caring thoughts, and it will fit perfectly right there. I'm going to be using Tahitian Tide ink. And like I said, I should have stamped this before I put. I'm hoping this doesn't mess with my image. So, fingers crossed, everybody. I'm going to stick it right there. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. All right. So, all I'm going to do now is put this on here. And isn't that striking? That is so pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's go ahead and stick this down. And this is a great way to, sometimes vellum is tricky, right? To adhere down and not let our adhesive be showing. This is a great way to hide adhesive. So, because there is no adhesive under there. So here we are. And if you wanted to put this on a different colored base, if you didn't like the white on white look, I love that look. I think it's so pretty. And I don't use it often enough, but I would just put a piece of, so you've got your cutout, I would put a piece of white underneath of this so that it shows through if you wanted to use a piece of colored vellum or a colored cardstock. But I like the white. So I'm going to be using some of the iridescent rhinestone jewels. I'm running low on this pack. I love these jewels. They're so pretty. I'm going to put a few of them on here. Maybe one there. One there. Isn't this, this is kind of like a thinking of you card, right? Sending caring thoughts instead of saying thinking of you, you're sending caring thoughts. So I'm going to leave the inside blank so I could write a little note in there. Isn't that pretty? I love it. I love that card. I think it is so striking. I love those colors together. And I will make, this is what the one that we had just done. That's the one, that's what that one looks like. So super pretty. I love, 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 love those colors together. Awesome. All right. So let's move on to card number 2. Same technique, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit. So instead of and this is like even more simple, right? So I've got a piece of, let's see, I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. Instead of using the vellum, we're going to go even quicker. We're going to use Designer Series paper. This is from the Heart and Home bundle. It is on clearance right now, or it's on the last chance. I guess I don't know if it's on sale, if it's a reduced price or not, but it is going. It's on the last chance products right now, which is on my online store. This is a really cool paper pack because the back of them are all white and gray. So they're all like wood texture. And so very cool paper. Anyhow, so I've got this. This is like, I think about 2 1/4 probably by 4. And then I've got a piece of Pale Papaya. that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of basic white for the inside, and then I've got Early Espresso, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored down the middle here at 4 1/4. So there is our card base. I am going to continue using the Bamboo Beauty stamp set. And this time I am going to, let's see here. I'm going to use, is it this one? Yes. I'm going to do the card this way this time, just to kind of change it up a bit. So I'm going to cut out my square or my rectangle. So here again, I've got base number 1, the plate number 5, which is the magnetic plate. I'm going to put that on right there, and then put plate number 3 on top and run it through my cut and emboss machine. And would you believe I just moved it? Holy man, I did it again. What's going on here? All right, so take that off. So now here again, I've got a Pale Papaya rectangle. We'll use those somewhere different. And I'm going to put my basic rectangle or my stitched rectangle away. So, all right. And we're going to stick with the Bamboo Beauty. So I've got the sentiment, a true friend is the one who holds your hand and touches your heart. I thought that would be a nice one. I like this stamp set. It's got some really neat sayings. They're different. And then I'm going to show you one more stamp out of here. After I stamp this, because I've got Early Espresso ink, and my Early Espresso tends to be a little smeary. So I like it to dry. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to use this little stamp right here, this one here. I Googled it. Did you know that you can take a picture of an image like this? So like this is writing, obviously, I would assume in Mandarin. I took a picture of it with my phone, and I translated it. It means friendship. So there you go. I thought that was kind of neat. So I'm just going to put that down in the bottom corner of this will be my inside panel, but I thought it was kind of neat. So we'll put that down in the bottom corner. And that is all we're going to do with the ink. So let's build our card. And here again, all we're going to do is stick this behind. I'm actually going to trim that just a little bit. It is a full 4 inches. I'm going to trim it. I remember from my prototype that I made, it stuck over a little bit, and I didn't like that. So there we go. Isn't that going to be pretty? I love it. And I think my Early Espresso ink just stays. And this one's not quite as fussy, maybe, I guess, as the vellum was, because the vellum tends to curl a little bit, right? The designer series paper doesn't curl near as much. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. And I love that. And on the other one too, I love that the stitching is around here. It just adds such a neat, different look compared to what we're used to, right? So put adhesive on here, and like I said, for real, you can make a lot of cards fast with this technique. If you needed to make a stack of thank you cards or sympathy cards, anything, this would be a great design. So let's put this on the inside. And then I thought this one needed just a little bit more, so I decided I'm going to use the faux suede trim, which is in an Early Espresso color also, so it matches that brown really nice. And this trim it's like a 1/4 inch thick, I believe. Yes, 1/4 inch wide, and it ties so nice. Now that I've said that, I'm going to struggle, but you know, it's because I'm on camera trying to make a bow. And I'm trying to do it with bunny ears because I like to change things up. Sometimes my bunny ear ones work better. I don't tie it like my shoes though as bunny ears. I don't know. It's interesting to me. Bows are interesting because everybody does them so different. Oh, that worked out well. This trim does. It's kind of more substantial. It's a little thicker, but not so much that it makes it too bulky. It's just a nice ribbon. And it's got a neat texture to it. All right, so let's trim that. Let's see. I want the long part on the inside. Yes, I do. See, that's where I struggle, getting the tails even. And I'm going to put that right there. So I'm going to grab a glue dot, and I like to put my bow right on there, and then it pulls the glue dot right off. So there it is. Pretty. Isn't that fun? I love it. I love that they both see the stitches on this one too. I love that they are just a little, it's a different way to think about using your dies. I don't very often think about using the negative image. So I liked how they turned out. So those are my two cards. I'm going to flip the camera back here. Right. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those. I hope that gave you some good ideas, and you can use any patterned paper, and you could make that any sort of sentiment. I mean, these could be sympathy cards, they could be birthday cards, they could be anything. So I hope that helped you. I hope it gave you some ideas. I just want to give you a couple of notes. I will not be here next Friday. I hope to jump on sometime this week. I'm not sure when I'm going to get a time to, but we are planning the graduation party next weekend. So we'll be doing a lot of work with that. So I'm hoping to get on here and give you some kind of something during the week. So watch for that. Also, right now they just did the clearance. So for the mini January to June mini catalog, they are closing out a bunch of those products, which means there's a new catalog coming out here shortly. Hint, hint. Not that we didn't have a new catalog recently, but we're having another new one, the winter catalog. So the Christmas stuff is coming out soon. So that's exciting. And one more thing, kits. Kits are buy one, get one half off. And here's the cool thing. If you put if you get two kits and one of them is less expensive, you add the first one that's less expensive into your cart, and then you add the second one. That's the one that's half off. So there's a little trick for you. That's for the month of June. So if you are interested in kits, they make great gifts. So that's something to look forward to. I will have a link to my store here in the video. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for finding me. I would appreciate it if you would give me some thumbs up. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you get some crafting in, and I hope you have some fun. So take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.